In January 2013, a 21-year-old Canadian student named Elisa Lam checked into the Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles. She was traveling alone, documenting her journey on a Tumblr blog. By all accounts, she was curious, thoughtful, and full of life. 19 days after she checked in, hotel guests began complaining about the water. The pressure was low. The taste was off. When maintenance workers climbed to the rooftop to check the water tanks, they found her body. She had been there for weeks. But that is not the most unsettling part of this story. The most unsettling part is the footage. Security footage taken just before her disappearance. Footage that, to this day, no one has been able to fully explain. This is the Elisa Lam case. Elisa Lam was born in Hong Kong and raised in Vancouver, Canada. She was a university student, an avid reader, and a passionate blogger. Her Tumblr was filled with book recommendations, travel photos, and reflections on everyday life. She was, by every account from those who knew her, warm and intellectually alive. In late January 2013, she embarked on a solo trip down the west coast of the United States. San Diego was her ultimate destination. She stopped in Los Angeles along the way and checked into the Cecil Hotel on January 26th. The Cecil Hotel has its own dark history. Opened in 1927 in Skid Row district of downtown Los Angeles, it was linked to multiple suicides, at least 2 serial killers who stayed there, and decades of crime. Whether Elisa knew this history is unclear. The hotel had recently rebranded parts of itself under the name Stay on Main to attract budget travelers. For the first few days, she seemed fine. She was in contact with her parents regularly. Then, around January 31st, contact stopped. Her parents reported her missing. The LAPD launched an investigation, and the Cecil Hotel became the center of one of the most discussed and debated disappearance cases in recent memory. On February 14, 2013, roughly 2 weeks after Elisa went missing, the LAPD released a piece of security footage to the public in hopes that someone might recognize her or provide information. The footage is approximately 4 minutes long. It shows Elisa alone in the hotel elevator. What happens in those 4 minutes has been dissected by millions of people around the world. She enters the elevator and presses multiple floor buttons, seemingly all of them. She then presses herself flat against the interior wall, as if hiding from something in the corridor outside. She peers out, steps back in, peers out again. At several points, she appears to be speaking or reacting to something or someone outside the frame of the camera. Her hand movements are unusual, almost fluid. At times, she seems calm. At other times, her body language shifts without clear reason. The elevator doors, notably, do not close during this entire sequence. On a normal functioning elevator, they would have. Eventually, she walks out of the elevator and out of frame. The doors finally close. And that is the last known footage of Elisa Lam, alive. Investigators and the public immediately began asking the same questions. What was she looking at? Who or what was she reacting to? Why were the doors not closing? And why does her behavior seem so difficult to categorize? On February 19, 2013, a maintenance worker climbed to the roof of the Cecil Hotel to investigate the water complaints. There were 4 large water tanks on the rooftop. They supplied the building's water system, including taps and showers used by guests. Inside one of those tanks, he found Elisa Lam's body. She was unclothed. Her clothes were found floating in the water nearby. The hatch was closed. This last detail became one of the central puzzles of the case. The hatch to the water tank was on the outside of the tank, near the top. For it to be closed from the inside would have been extremely difficult, if not physically impossible. Yet it was closed, which raises an uncomfortable question. If she did not close it herself, who did? The roof itself was accessible only via a locked fire door that required either a key or an alarm trigger to open. Investigators found no clear evidence of how she reached the roof. The Los Angeles County coroner ruled Elisa Lam's death an accidental drowning. The toxicology report noted the presence of several medications she had been prescribed. She had a documented history of bipolar disorder and was taking a combination of drugs, including Wellbutrin, Lamictal, Seroquel, and Effexor. Authorities and medical professionals pointed to the possibility that Elisa may have been experiencing a dissociative or manic episode at the time of her death. Her behavior in the elevator, they suggested, was consistent with someone in an altered psychological state, not with someone being pursued or threatened. As for the hatch, investigators ultimately concluded it was possible, though difficult, for her to have climbed in and pulled it closed, or that its position had been misreported. The case was closed. No foul play was determined. No other individuals were ever identified as persons of interest. And yet, for many people, the official conclusion raised as many questions as it answered. Let us be clear about what we know and what we do not know. The official ruling is accidental death. That is what the investigation concluded. But there are specific details that continue to be discussed by researchers, journalists, and investigators, details that have not been fully explained. First, the elevator doors. Why did they not close during those 4 minutes? One possibility is that someone, perhaps Elisa herself, had pressed the door open button. Another is a technical malfunction. The LAPD said the elevator was functioning normally before and after the incident. This has never been fully resolved. Second, the roof access. The fire door required a key or an alarm trigger to open. No alarm was recorded. No key was unaccounted for. The question of how she reached the roof, especially in a potentially altered state, has not been definitively answered. Third, the tank hatch. Even if we accept that she climbed into the tank, the mechanics of closing that hatch from inside, given its size, its weight, and her position, remain physically difficult to account for. Fourth, the water. Guests had been using the water, including for drinking and showering, for an estimated 2 to 3 weeks before the body was discovered. This raised serious questions about hotel management and inspection protocols and resulted in lawsuits and regulatory review. These are not fringe theories. They are documented gaps in the official account, gaps that forensic investigators, journalists, and legal professionals have noted on record. The Elisa Lam case became a cultural phenomenon in a way few missing persons cases do. The elevator footage went viral almost immediately after its release. A Netflix documentary, Crime Scene: The Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel, was released in 2021 and introduced the case to millions more viewers. Her Tumblr blog, which continued to auto-post scheduled entries after her death, added another layer of tragedy. Words she had written before her death appearing online in the weeks after she was gone. It is worth saying clearly, Elisa Lam was a real person. She had a family. She had a future. The discussions around her case can sometimes reduce her to a mystery or an internet phenomenon, and it is important to hold on to the fact that at the center of all of this is a young woman who deserved better. From the hotel that housed her, from the systems that were supposed to protect guests, and from some corners of the internet that treated her tragedy as entertainment. The Los Angeles County coroner ruled this an accidental death. That may well be the truth, but the unanswered questions around the elevator doors, the roof access, and the tank hatch ensure that this case continues to be examined, not because people want to believe in something sinister, but because the facts, as we know them, do not yet form a complete picture. Elisa Lam's family settled a lawsuit against the Cecil Hotel. The hotel itself has since been converted into low-income housing. The elevator still exists. If you found this case as compelling as I do, subscribe. We are on a countdown to 100,000 subscribers, and every video brings us one step closer to the reveal. Drop your thoughts or your own theories in the comments below. I read every single one. I will see you in the next video.